What do Dr. Oz, Gwyneth Paltrow, Gary Brecka, Joseph Mercola, and Vani Hari, aka the Food Babe, all have in common? Well, I would qualify them as health grifters. And to that, you might ask, what the heck is a health grifter? Well, health grifter is really somebody who exploits or takes advantage of someone by promoting unproven or dubious or fraudulent or even pseudoscientific health claims for their own personal gain or profit. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, then you know I'm not a huge fan of the health and wellness industry as a whole. There's a lot of fishy stuff that goes in this space. And I think people tend to look at the wellness industry with like rose-colored glasses on. And let me tell you, you need to take those off because there is some crazy stuff going on in the wellness space and some people that do not deserve your time, money, or attention. As somebody who has, again, flip-flopped from the traditional medical side of things to the complete opposite spectrum and now has a healthy balance of the middle, I have seen the dark and light sides of both industries, going from, again, traditional conventional medicine, pharmaceuticals, to supplements, alternative medicine, you name it in that space. And I've experienced a lot of the good, bad, and the ugly. There are a lot of red flags that I wish I would have known sooner, but now that I do know them, I think it's only best that I share that with you guys. And I know a lot of you guys are against big pharma and conventional medicine because of the profit underlying nature of that side of things. But I kid you not when I say the wellness industry is exactly the same, if not a way more unregulated version of that, with way crazier stuff going on. Anyone can essentially call themselves an expert, cherry pick some data, then sell you their optimized routine of supplements and healing modalities. And you might be asking me, Victoria, what's the worst gonna happen? It's a supplement, it's a red light therapy, it's whatever, it's an ice bath. People die from these things. People die from the spread of misinformation when it comes to their health. So I take it very seriously when I start to see a trend of more of these health grifters showing up and getting a huge platform at the cost of other people's health and well-being. One of my favorite YouTubers in the health and medical space is Dr. Mike, and he has a video talking about this, talking about the I know all expert or the IKA expert. It's these people that now have platforms that claim to have the answers to everything, especially in areas where mainstream medicine and the mainstream health community still has unanswered questions. And not only do these health grifters or these I know all experts show up and provide information that can actually harm your health, they also do a really good job of sowing seeds of mistrust in the mainstream medical and health communities. So many of my peers refuse to see doctors. They refuse to go get annual checkups or cervical screenings because over time, so many medical and health grifters in this space have convinced them that the doctors are the enemy. And that's terrifying to me. So that's why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to go over these common tactics that a lot of these health grifters use so that you can be better able to identify them moving forward and be able to have a better ability to critically think about who to trust. All right, so tactic number one is that health grifters tend to use very extreme language. They like to boil complex topics down into kind of buzzworthy titles like "this one thing will kill you," or "5 foods that will help you eliminate cancer," or "you should always be doing this if you want to blank," or "you should never." Things like that, right? Grifters very frequently use these blanket statements to oversimplify a very complex topic around health and make a very poignant extremist statement around it. Instead of nuanced advice, they tend to make dramatic claims like "this superfood is the cure for cancer," or "going vegan will revolutionize your health." There's all these extremist kind of revolutionary / breakthrough claims that should definitely send some red flags up for you. A prime example of a health grifter doing this is Dr. Robert O. Young. Dr. Young had made this extreme claim even as early as in the 1990s that all disease is created by acidic conditions in the body. And he claimed that conditions ranging from cancer to HIV to diabetes could be treated through having an alkalized diet. And of course, by following the regimen that he had in his book and by buying his products that he had online to alkalize your body. Feel free to look him up. He's actually currently awaiting criminal trial. His claims were completely unproven and hurt a lot of people. Another common tactic of health grifters is that they tend to demonize mainstream medicine and leverage distrust in larger systems in general. They often position themselves as contrarians to the larger system at hand, posing to have this secret knowledge that traditional or mainstream medical communities don't want you to know. They'll point to any and all flaws within the medical system or larger systems in general to begin to sow even more distrust, thus further roping you in and selling you on their secret knowledge that they have that's different from all the rest. It's very much so this us versus them mentality. And it can be really compelling to believe, especially for those that are marginalized or let down by the current medical system. And you guys know, I don't think the medical system, especially here in the US, is perfect by any means. There are so many flaws in it, of course. A popular health grifter that commonly uses this tactic is Joseph Mercola. He routinely spreads misinformation about treatments for serious diseases and lobbied against community water fluoridation by hyping up its potential dangers. This pattern of demonizing mainstream medical consensus as misguided or corrupt is a core tenet of his brand. All right, so another common tactic of health grifters is that they use celebrity endorsements or create a position of authority bias. Using celebrities as a way to endorse your product or protocol or brand is a way to position yourself as somebody of credibility and authority. Come on, most of us are more apt to believe in something if a very famous celebrity is endorsing it. Similarly, health grifters might also use the more traditional, just pure authority bias by saying a Stanford-backed researcher or a Harvard professor agrees with what we're saying or something of that sort. They'll often have some very prestigious sounding and looking people on their board from very esteemed schools. But don't you for a second believe that these people are like doing it for free or out of the goodness of their heart. These celebrities and people in positions of authority are getting so much money for doing these endorsements. They are getting paid in position to be on that board. They are getting paid to contribute to those papers. They are getting paid to have their face on those campaigns. All of these things are just tactics to boost the credibility of the health grifter. Because let's be honest, if the thing worked on its own, it would probably be popular without any of these endorsements going on. A recent example of somebody who is leveraging this authority bias and celebrity endorsement tactic is Gary Brecka. He's used Dana White's testimony over and over and over again in his marketing. Again, one of my favorite medical YouTubers, Dr. Mike, did a whole YouTube video on Gary Brecka and talks a little bit more in depth about the celebrity endorsement and how it's fishy, and to a degree of detail I'm not going to go into in this video, so definitely go check it out. I'll link it down below. But in using Dana White's face over and over and over again in his marketing, he's doing that to boost credibility. Oftentimes saying if it's good enough for Dana White. Another common tactic that these health grifters use is that they try to play to your emotions. There's often a lot of fear mongering. They'll use a lot of extreme, scary language to make you feel fear around common products in the grocery store, saying things like, this one ingredient in your pantry is killing you. And this type of fear mongering can make people irrationally afraid of everyday things. A health grifter that is famous for doing this is Vani Hari, aka the Food Babe. You'll commonly see her in her videos strolling through grocery stores and telling you about how terrible all the products in these aisles are, and how most of the ingredients are going to lead to some sort of adverse health effect that will damage you and your children. She was the one who started the claim that there was yoga mat material in Subway's bread, and that Starbucks puts cheap truck oil in pumpkin spice lattes. She is famous for oversimplifying chemistry and biology, pulling out certain details and extrapolating that and blowing it completely out of proportion. She takes these benign facts and blows them out of the water and makes everything seem toxic. And of course, she sells herself as the solution. She has over a dozen books on clean and healthy eating and lifestyle, meal plans and merchandise for purchase, and of course, tons of sponsorships and endorsements through her growing channel. All from making people feel deathly afraid of goldfish crackers and fruit snacks. Last but not least, another common tactic that these health grifters use is using pseudoscience. At their core, they are often making claims that sound scientific but are not based in solid scientific evidence. Their explanation of how their cures or protocols or supplements work is often very oversimplified science. And then they misapply larger complex topics from emerging fields like epigenetics. And all of it sounds very fancy and scientific when in reality the basis of their explanations are not. At the end of the day, health grifters are very skilled manipulators. And they use the fear that they seed in you to sell you an oversimplified, generic cure that is based in wishy-washy science at best and complete conspiracy theory at worst. Good health practices require nuanced care and guidance from qualified medical professionals. And not all qualified medical professionals are worthy of your time, energy, and attention either. Many of them still can fall into this health grifting category. Like I mentioned, Dr. Oz. And there are plenty of other people using that title of doctor that go against current medical consensus and are dangerous to public health. But if you listen for some of these tactics and start to be aware of some of these red flags that come up, you can be better able to decide who to trust. And remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it almost certainly is. Anyways, guys, I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.